So hi class, so we are continuing with our pandas tutorial that we were seeing. So just come to your browser and just type Colab, right? So you remember we did everything in Colab the other day. Just write Colab on your Google and we are good to go. Just click on the first link, and I hope you remember that we were doing on this module pandas, right? I will share the link on WebEx, right? So let me just click the chat window. This is the link that you need to share, fine. And you actually need to download these files also. You can just do a git pull basically. Already I think you may be having this on your GitHub repo because we have the same Qt 2021, right? So in this, what you need to do, you need to come to GitHub in Colab. So it will take some time to authenticate. Once it is authenticated, you just enter this URL which I have entered in the chat window, right? GitHub, this one, right? And press enter, and you can see this module 10 pandas notebook.ipynb has loaded. It will actually show you in your recent books also. So it will take some time to load, and you click this button, right? Table of contents, right? Not this, sorry, this folder one, right? So this is showing you the files, and we need to basically, upload few files here so that we can access our program well. Right? So there is some sample data here. Just click the up arrow, and in this you can come to your module 10 and copy everything. Assets you need not copy, that's not required. So it's just saying a reminder that these files will get deleted when the runtime is happening, and that's okay, right? So we had begin some halfway down here. So just a quick revision. A series basically is a column, and data frame is two or more than two columns. So you can see there is only one column here, so it's a series. One column here, again a series, and when you merge this, so it becomes a data frame. So more than two columns up to infinity columns, it is a data frame. One column exactly is a series. There can be nothing with zero columns, right? So we did saw that how do we convert into data frame? We just use a data frame function, right? So let me just execute this. You come to runtime and you can just do a run all, right? So it is saying some warning, you just say run anyway, right? Because in pandas, what happens is you need to execute all the previous block before going on to the next block. So I cannot directly execute this block without actually executing this block. I cannot execute this block without executing the previous block if there is some dependence, right? So for example, if I write an independent code, right? For example, I write here print hello, right? So I can directly execute this even though the previous statements were not executed, because this statement actually does not depend on the previous ones. But now if you see pd.data frame, it is depending on data, right? And where is our data, right? Again, data is actually here. So to ensure that this line executes correctly, you need to ensure that this is executed, right? So guys, you can use Colab also, or you can just do Anaconda distribution on Google, right? So once you type the Anaconda distribution, you can just go here, individual edition, right? So you can download this individual edition for Windows. It is also available for Mac and Linux, right? So I will just copy paste this on this chat window. So you can just install Anaconda. So Anaconda is nothing but a compilation of various Python packages, right? We have NumPy, SkyPy, and all these packages. So it's a collection of these packages all bundled together. It also gives you a Jupyter notebook, which is similar to Colab only. Let me just check if I have a Jupyter notebook. Yeah, I have. So once you install Anaconda, Jupyter notebook is automatically installed. So you can see it opens in a browser, and I can just click a new here, new Python notebook. So I can just write here, let's say CS384, and basically this is my notebook, right? I can just write here print hello world. See, you can see the hello world comes. You can do a cell, you can do insert cell below. I can just write import pandas as pd. right? So it has important, right? So this is how you can do it. So you can just install this Anaconda if you want to do it locally, or you can of course use a Google Colab to learn also, right? So enough of introduction. So let us now do one thing. This we had already learned. So some error is there here. New purchases already exist. Okay, that is not an issue for us. So weaving also we had seen. Just a minute. So moving we had seen. So you remember the head function? It gives the first 5 lines. Tail gives the last n lines. If no number is there, by default 5 lines will be seen, right? Handling duplicates. Okay, this we had actually seen. Clone up, clean up, how to work with missing values. Rename also I think we had seen in the previous class. Now how to work with missing values, right? This is important. So let me just do one thing. I have to execute this one after the other. Let me just check. So drop duplicates basically was just to remove the duplicates, and then you remember we had that in place true and everything, right? Now let us do movies.column, right? So these basically are the columns that we have in the file, right? So if you want to see movies.df, right, which file it contains? So movies.df, if I go here, this is this file, IMDb movie database. Let me just open this file here also. IMDb movie database. Right, so you can see we have the rank of the movie, title, genre, description, director, actors, year, and so on and so forth. Fine. Now let us see how can we access this using our, how can we make column manipulations, right? So rename column, I think we had seen already, right? So in the rename columns, this is a source name. So if you see this file, you can have this runtime in minutes, right? This is the column name. So runtime minutes, we are renaming it to runtime, right? That's it. So let me just execute these things. This we had seen last time, lowering of column. And now how do we work with missing values, right? So there is a function here which is known as isNull, right? IsNull basically checks whether the value is null or not. So now you can see for every row, it is just writing false or true, right? You can see there is one true here. That means revenue millions for search party is actually null, right? So you can actually verify also when I do search party here. See, you can see this search party, this column is blank, right? Hence it is showing true here, right? So a better way is to basically do a dot sum. So that means revenue million has 128 null values and Metascore has 64 null values. Now how can we remove the null values, right? So there are various methods. So we begin with the most easiest method, directly saying drop NA. NA basically is not applicable. That indicates that this is a null value. So when I execute this, you can click this play button or press Control Enter, right? So now see, once I do a drop NA, basically this will do a in place operation, right? So you can see now I have 838 rows and 11 columns. Now why did I get 838? See, now if you count this particular thing, 128 and Metascore, right? So now you may say that, okay, 128 plus 64 will be, so 120 plus 60 is 180 and plus 12. So this is 192, right? So what does drop NA do is like any row, right? Any row that contains a null value, it will directly remove that particular row, right? So in case if you see, we had one item in this row, right? Search party movie, which was basically an empty row, right? This yellow one. So what basically drop NA does is it will just delete this row, right? Now you may say that, okay, we have 128 missing value for revenue and 64 for this. So we should have removed 192 values, but here you can see it says the final output is 838 rows and 11 columns. Now this is because there might be some rows where both revenue and the Metascore will be null, right? So in case that single row is removed, but basically that contributes to two null values, one for revenue million and one for Metascore, just like simple set theory, A intersection B, right? So there are some rows in which only revenue million is blank. There are some rows in which only Metascore is blank, and there are a few rows in which both of them are blank, right? So now you know that we have a 1000 row array, and now we have 838 rows remaining, right? So that means 1000 minus 838 is 162. So we had 162 rows in the CSV file, which at least had one null value, right? At least one null value. Oh, okay, it's gone, right? So now what happens? Drop NA by default works on rows, right? So when you write here, so let me just write here and remove this one. By default removes rows. So you can see initially also we had 11 columns, and now also we have 11 columns, right? Now what if you want to actually drop the column, right? So for example, in this particular case, now if you see we had only one column which was null. So rather than removing this row, what we can do is remove this column also. So both options are there, right? So now for that, if you want to specify, there is an option called as axis. Axis is equal to 1. So what happens in axis equal to 1 is this one. Let me just show you how to remember this. Right? So our normal coordinate geometry goes like this, right? This is x-axis and this is y-axis, right? So when I say axis is equal to 1, basically this implies as y-axis, right? Now how do you remember this? So a very simple method, what can you remember is like, see, when you write axis is equal to 1, like normally we just write 1 with a single vertical line, right? So you can see amongst the axis, when I say axis is equal to, if I write a big 1, right, this looks like a y-axis, right? This looks like a y-axis. So just remember in this fashion. So whenever you are writing x-axis equal to 1, so that means I'm referring to the vertical axis, because 1 looks like a vertical axis. So that is the y-axis. So now you can see when I do drop NA is equal to axis equal to 1. So now you see I have all the 1000 rows, but only 9 columns now, right? In the previous case, I had 11 columns. Why? Because now you can see in the drop rows NA, when I'm not specifying anything, I'm removing the x-axis, I'm removing the rows. And now if you see all the columns, only 2 columns were having blank. Only 2 columns were having some blank values. So when you do drop NA, axis is equal to 1, basically you are just deleting the columns. So how many columns will be deleted? 2 columns. Now let's say if actors had 10 missing values, just for an example, let us say actor had 10 missing values. So this would have been 10. So in this case, drop NA axis equal to 1 would have removed 3 columns, 1, 2 and 3. Right? I hope this is clear. Quite easy only, and you can see how powerful it is to manipulate CSV through pandas. Right? Right, so you can just see the shape again, right? So drop NA, we have not given the option. So if we write something like in place is equal to true, right? So actual values will be reflected, right? Now this is just a temporary solution. So I'm not using in place equal to true. Let it be axis equal to 1. So you can see the shape is still intact, 1000 rows and 11 columns, because we did not do in place equal to true, right? So now we come across imputation, right? So many a times what happens is like deleting columns or deleting rows is not a good idea, right? Because they contain quite a rich information, right? As we see this example, you can see this movie has a lot of information, right? Overall rating, right? And the revenue and all those things, it has quite a good information, right? So deleting the entire row makes little sense, right? Because see why it is bad. For example, in 1000 rows, assume there are like 50 columns, right? 50. And assume that on every row there is one null value. So when you do a drop NA, it will actually drop all the 1000 values, which is not what we require, right? So in order to overcome that, what we can do is like we do imputation, right? So now here what we are seeing, we can actually replace that blank value by mean or median or something of a mathematical value. So now let us run this code. So now see what I'm saying here. You can see this movies DF. So I am basically reading the column revenue millions. Remember we had renamed this column into revenue. So now you can see when I print the revenue, because title was our index and this is our revenue column. So you can see it has 1000 rows, and you can see there are some NaN values, NaN, secret in their eyes, search party. It is again having a value NaN, right? So how can now we change it, right? So see, okay, let us see the head values first. Revenue dot head. Okay, this has 5 values here, right? So now what I'm doing, I'm saying, okay, you can see now revenue is our data frame, right? Revenue is a data frame containing this particular column. Now what I'm doing, I am basically computing the mean of the revenue, right? So I'm computing for this whole column, not 5, but for the whole 1000 values, of course, which are not present, that won't be counted in the mean. I'm computing that mean and displaying it. So see, I'm getting the mean value as 82.95, right? So the revenue is 82.95 million as the mean value, right? Now, similarly, you had a function known as drop NA, right? Now you can see here I am doing in place equal to true. In place equal to true means it will actually go and modify in the original data frame, in the original data frame that we were working upon. So when I do this, right? So remember we had the function something like data frame dot drop NA. So drop means remove those things which are not applicable or which are null. And now you can see here we have a function called fill NA. Fill means fill those values which are not present. And how are you filling? See, you're taking this revenue data frame. Revenue data frame is nothing but this one. Title is the movie and this is the revenue column. And now I'm filling with revenue mean. What was the revenue mean for me? Revenue mean was 82.956. In place equal to true means basically I want to replace in the original data frame, in the revenue data frame, right? Now let us compute this. See, now you can see revenue millions has null values as 0. Initially, remember it was 128. If you want to just see, we can go upstairs a bit. You can see revenue million was 128, right? Same line I'm executing. So you can see when I come down, so revenue million, I first computed the mean value of the revenue column and then I did a fill NA. So all the 128 NA, see, if I did not use in place equal to true, then here the value would have been 128. Since I'm doing in place equal to true, basically you can see now my revenue millions is 0 null values, right? Now that I know Metascore has 64, if I do a drop NA, I will remove 1000 minus 64 rows, right? And that will be the remaining one, right? Now let us see how do we get more information about the CSV. See, sometimes you have a very large CSV, especially those guys working on natural language processing and data analytics. They have a huge data to analyze. Now, how do you analyze that data? Let me just see the time. Okay, 12:23. Guys, let us take a break for 5 minutes. We will be back at 12:28. Yeah, guys, welcome after the break. So we were seeing the describe function now, right? So what does describe function do? First, let us see the output and then we understand how it works actually. So now you can see when I do this data frame, that is the name of the data frame dot describe. So what happens here, you can see I'm giving some standard statistical parameters, count, mean, standard deviation, minimum. This is basically quartiles. So the first 25% data, first 50%, this is nothing but the median, right? I hope you know what are quartiles, right? So when you have data from 1 to 100, so from 1 to 25 is the first quartile, right? Then second quartile goes up to the median value, third quartile up to 75, and fourth is the whole data set, right? So you can see from 1 to 250 is the first 25% of the data. From 1 to 50 is first 50% of the data. Till 75, 750% of the data, 750 data points, and the max is 1000. So now you can see that, okay, rank, you cannot, let's see revenue, right? So you can see that the mean revenue is 82.95. If you remember, we actually computed the revenue previously, and the standard deviation in revenue is 96 million, right? So around the mean, the standard deviation is this particular value, right? So minimum is 0, right? Because some values were actually absent. So minimum revenue collected is 0, right? And the maximum revenue for the movie was 936 million, right? Votes have been in the scientific calculation, right? So basically, when you do a describe function, you get a whole idea about the data. What is the mean, max, standard deviation, median, max, quartiles, and all those things, right? So now let us see, we can also do a describe for a single column, right? For example, I'm doing for the column genre. Genre says that total count is 1000 because we know that our data frame consists of 1000 values. Unique is 207. That means what do I mean by unique? So if you come to our Excel file, right, you can see this genre. Let me just copy this, paste here, right? And let me remove this heading. And then when I do data, remove duplicates, see it says 793 duplicates found, 207 unique remain, right? Because the genre may be action, scientific, horror, thriller, etc. So there are some unique kind of genre types only. So now you can see when I do a describe for a column, I can actually get how many unique were there, similar to remove duplicates basically. And which is the top one? It says action, adventure, and sci-fi. That frequency is 50. Now what does this mean? So let me just do a control Z and let me just sort this, right? So let me come to sort. So which is our highest frequency? Action, adventure, and sci-fi, right? So let me just search this. So you can see action, adventure, and sci-fi. So when I select this thing, you can see the count is 50, right? So basically what it does is for every unique value, it contributes, calculates the frequency, and for every frequency, it tells you how many, which is the maximum one, right? So now we have here value counts, right? You just see this is such a beautiful function, and we are doing head 10. That means we want the top 10 genre movies, right? Because there are 207 unique values. If I don't use head 10, I will get all the 207. So now see what value counts does. So basically it's showing, see, action, adventure, drama is 50, drama is 48, comedy, drama, and romance 35. So there are 35 movie titles with the genre comedy, drama, and romance. You can see value count is so nice that it automatically arranges by the descending count values. See, if I don't do a head here, so you can see here, it displays all 207 values, and there are some movies which are present only once, right? Hence, we just do a head, let's say top 25 if you want to get. So this is how you get the top 25, right? So thriller, there are 9 movies which are just thriller based movies. So this was the value counts function, right? So value count gives the frequency of particular element. So now relationship between this. So let us see the output for correlation, right? Basically, see, we had 11 columns, right? If you see our file, we had 11 column, rank, title, genre, description, and those things. But you can see, you remember mathematical correlation, right? The R square values also you can say, but this is correlation, right? R square is 0 to 1, but correlation is -1 to +1, fine. And correlation can only be computed for numbers. So you can see there can be no correlation for genre, description, director, and actor name, right? So now you can see rank, year, runtime, rating, votes, revenue, millions, and metascore, right? These are the same values here. And if you see the diagonal values, all are 1, because any value, the correlation with its own self will always be 1, right? So rating with rating is always 1. But now you can see the correlation of rank with year is minus -0 0.2. The correlation of rank with runtime is 0.22. Now correlation of rank with rating is this, votes is this, and so on, right? So let us see some interesting correlations, right? So you can see here in this case, I am getting a good correlation for this one, rating and metascore, right? So these are highly correlated. Again, you can see votes and revenue in millions. So that means if the usually movies which have higher votes usually may earn more, right? We can see there is a slight correlation here, right? Same for this. Of course, this is the same value only. Again, you can see Metascore rating that we have already seen. So this is how you know to determine the importance between columns actually. So which two columns are highly correlated and all. So this basically helps you for determining the importance of parameters. The importance of parameters, right? Now we will see this data slicing, selection and extracting. Again, a very important topic, right? So let us see how do we select a column, particular column. So we already know we have a data frame and we just specify the column name. If you remember, you can see in this way, you may say that, okay, genre is written in a capital G, but we had a function upstairs where we converted all the headers to lowercase. Hence we are using the lowercase genre. And then let us see what is the output in this case, right? So you can see since I'm extracting only one column, I am getting this as a series. Now there are some operations in pandas which you can only apply on data frame. You can only apply on the data frame. So now if you want to work on a single column, right, but you need a data frame. So what you can do, you can just see the difference here. There is a single bracket here like an array, and there are two brackets here. You can see genre, which is again enclosed inside square brackets, right? So let me just write here in the comments, square brackets are doubled. DOUBLED. So when I do this type, you will see it will be a data frame, right? So just the presence of this particular outer bracket, right, basically makes it to a data frame. Now again, you can see this one. So now I am doing multiple column selection. So in this case, I am specifying multiple columns. So the moment I become into a multiple column, I automatically know that this will be two columns, right? So it will be automatically a data frame, right? So there is even no need. For example, if I do a print type of subset, you can see it is a data frame, right? I am hiding this as of now. So you can do as many columns as you want, right? So now you can see, let's say you have a CSV file having 50 columns and you want to just work on the 4 columns. You just pick a subset of columns like this. You specify the name of data frame and specify the columns that actually you require. And then you just start working on this. You can see title is still our primary key and genre and rating, right? Now let us see how do we get values by rows, right? So let us see this. So there are two functions in this, right? So one is the dot look, that this property says that locates by name, and dot iloc is there. So iloc basically it locates by numerical index. That means I remember by integer, I for integer. So I say this is a location by name and this is integer location. So when I say integer location, what do I mean? I mean it's a number, right? Integer location is a number, right? So now let us see. So there is a movie and which is called Prometheus, right? Probably some of you might have heard also, right? So now you can see, let me just show you in Prometheus in this particular file. You can see here it is that in the title, right? So let me place a filter here and select only Prometheus, right? So now you can see in this Prometheus movie, because I'm telling that, okay, I want to select a location where, see, Prometheus, why it is selecting? Because by default it is selecting the index value only. And in our case, the index was title, right? So we are able to search for Prometheus. I'm saying, ki, okay, I want to know more about Prometheus. So now you can see, since this is basically representation of a row, you can see the entire movie information, right? For example, if I show you in parallel here, so rank is 2, you can see rank is 2, right? Genre is adventure. Let me just call it adventure, mystery, and sci-fi. Then description, right? Description is a bit long. You can see following clues to the original mankind and so on. So you can see whatever is your index value, right? Whatever is your sorry, whatever is your index value, you can basically search that index and basically get all the information about that particular true. So you can see all the 11 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All the 11 columns basically are displayed. Even if this was a none value, it would have shown NaN, but it will still display the value, right? So on the other hand, you can actually do this iloc. Iloc, as I said, integer location or index location, right, by number. So in this case, you can see we know that indexing begins from 0, right? Indexing always begins from 0. And now if you see this thing, rank is 2. So if I see in the form of an array, array begins from 0. So 0, this will be 1. So now you can see I'm saying iloc 1. So whatever my index column is, in that index column, I am specifying 1. That means the index 1. So it will be the second row, right? So you can see this is same information, right? So lock and iloc can be thought as similar to Python list slicing, right? You can actually even have this thing also. For example, I am having a movie subset from location Prometheus to Sing, right? So let me just clear this filter, clear filter. So you can see Prometheus and Sing. I am going from this to this. So let us see the output here. So pandas is very, very intuitive, right? So you can see Prometheus, Split and Sing. Now you may feel that in the list when we were doing, for example, if I was doing 1 to 5, it was going from 1 to 5 but not including 5. But this is not the case with pandas. Pandas has this as a start and this as the end. So it includes both the things. So you can see Prometheus also appears and Sing also appears, right? So this is how you basically can identify a subset of rows. Same with the iLocation. Now you just specify the index. So pandas basically is quite powerful in the sense that it can provide you with both the things. You can have a subset of rows, a subset of columns, and you can use iloc function, right? So guys, it's 12:41. Let us take a break and then return at 12:45. Doubts, of course, are welcome. Hi class, welcome after the break. So now we will see how can we do conditional selections, right? This is again a very important topic. So let me just show the output here, right? So this is my condition in this case. So what I'm saying in the movies data frame, select the column director, right? So what happens here? Let me just do column width. So select the column director, right? And let me just do, because we are doing Ridley Scott. So right, so you can see Ridley Scott, oh, column width is 15. So Ridley Scott has roughly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 movies, right? So now you can see I'm saying that I want to just know the movies which Ridley Scott has directed. So when I do this condition, you can see it's coming false, true, false, false, false. So for all 1000 rows, if the director is Ridley Scott, it basically will show true. So for example, Prometheus, it is showing as true. And then we have some movies in the middle, movie number 103, 388 and all those things, right? American Gangster, A Good Year, etc. So now similar to is null, right? So we can actually do this particular code. Let me just say this code. So here what we are doing, you can see I am selecting this column, right, where director is this, and I am again enclosing it into a data frame. So see, in this case, we were getting only true, false. But now when I want a data frame as an output, I'm enclosing this into a data frame. So I'm getting all the movies which has been directed by Ridley Scott. And I'm doing a head here, right? If I don't do a head, I will get all the 8 movies. Let us just do this. And with all the details, you can see the Prometheus, Martian. Oh, Martian is by this guy. Martian is an amazing movie. The Martian, right? You can see Robin Hood, American Gangster, Robin Hood, American Gangster, and so on and so forth, right? So you can see how we have selected a column, provided a condition, right? So if you, let's say, want to see some other director, Prometheus, no. Let us come to director. Okay, let us select Amir Khan. right? So it has only one movie, Tare Zameen Pe. So 992, right? So let me just select here Amir Khan, right? So you can see Tare Zameen Pe has come. So whatever be the number of movies directed by a particular director will basically come here, right? So let me keep it original so that when you practice, you have an idea about the help file also, right? Now see what I'm doing here. I'm going to the ratings column and selecting those ratings which are more than or equal to 8.6. So what does that mean? So let us clear the filters here. Go to the rating column, right? So you can see number filters greater than or equal to 8.6. So you can see we have roughly 6 movies here, right? And I'm saying that okay, so Christopher Nolan has 3 movies in this 8.6: Interstellar, Dark Knight, and Inception, right? So let me just come here. You can see Interstellar, Dark Knight, and Inception, right? All by Christopher Nolan, and I can remove the head 3 to show all the possible cases, right? Now we are seeing the logical operators or, and, etc., right? So now how does this go about? So I'm selecting those movies which are directed by Christopher Nolan or the movies which have been directed by Ridley Scott, right? So you can see this or operator. If you remember your C code, you had used the same programming logic. You had used the same or library, right? On the or operator basically. The difference was in C you had to use a double pipe. Here it's only a single pipe, right? So let us see this, the output. So only head is being shown. So basically you can see Prestige, Inception, so all Christopher Nolan, right? And you can see Prometheus, which is by Ridley Scott, right? So now there is another condition here, right? So I mean, instead of this particular thing, right? Instead of the or operator, because you can see you have to repeat this entire stuff again and again. So if I want to see in 5 directors, I have to copy or copy or copy or. So a shorthand will be to use is in operator, right? So what I'm saying, for directors should be in, right? In operator, if you remember in for loop, for I in range, right? So in is basically inclusive, right? You can see the help file also. So I'm specifying a list of directors here. So I can just add Amir Khan, and let us not do the head, right? So you can see all the movies will come, and finally we have Tare Zameen Pe also, right? So is in also is a very useful operator, and you can see it's how intuitive is it to work on this. So first select a column, and within column you can use isn't to filter more values, right? And now you can see here I'm specifying multiple filters, but I'm using the and clause, right? So the advantage of pandas is that everything is understood so easily. So you can see the movie year should be greater than equal to 2005, and the movie year should be less than equal to 2010. That means I'm selecting all movies that were from 1st January 2005 up to 31st December 2010, and movies which have a rating of more than 8, and the revenue millions should be in the top 25. You can see this quantile. If you remember our count object, so that 25% was the top 25 quantiles, right? So basically between these 6 years, 2005 to 10 is 6 years, I want those movies which have a rating greater than 8, right? So 8.0 is excluded, 8.01 will be the first value, and their revenue must be in the top 25, right? So when I display these movies, you have Three Idiots, Life of Others, Tare Zameen Pe, and the list, right? So now you can see year 2009, 6, 10, and 7, right? So the years were taken care of. Rating is greater than 8. So 8.4, 8.5, 8.2, 8.5 taken care of. And revenue million should be in the top 25, right? So if you see in the revenue million, this will be in the top 25. That you have to do a count actually, right? Now, how do you apply a function, right? So you can use pandas to apply functions also. Now, how do you do that? Applying functions. So see, I am defining a function here. define a rating function. If x is greater than equal to 8.0, return good, else return bad. Now you will see how do happen. You have an apply function. See, apply is a function because we have round parentheses. So now what I'm doing here, in the movies data frame, I am selecting the column rating, right? You can see this column, right? This is the column rating. So I can just clear the filter. This is the column rating. So in the whole column, you apply this rating function. You can see in this function, I am actually passing another function. See, rating function is another function, right? So in the apply function, I am passing another function. So what does apply do? It will take every rating. So 8.1. So this 8.1 goes here. X is greater than 8.0. Yes, because 8.1 is greater than 8. So it returns good, right? It comes here 7. 7 is greater than 8, false. So it will return bad. Now you can just see, I will just show for head 10. So now instead of rating, you will see this has gone to, okay, somehow my scroll bar is not showing here. So I hope it's visible. I mean, maybe it may not be so visible. You can see the rating category: good, bad, 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 good, bad. So this is how you can basically transform also, right? So what you are doing here, you are basically taking a column and passing each value to a function and then saving that as another data frame, right? Rating category. Fine. So this is how it basically works. So this is how the function works on pandas, right? Similarly, you can use a lambda function, right? The function was really small, so you can use a lambda function. I of course will say to avoid using lambda, creates a lot of confusion. Make a simple function only. And now we come to the last part, which is brief plotting, right? So plotting in MATLAB, sorry, in Python, there is a library called matplotlib, right? Mathematics plotting library, right? So in this, basically we have a font size, which is 20. So these are just basically setting the parameters of the plot, right? And then we have a figure size, right? Basically it's 10 by 8. So just like a canvas, 10 cross 8. And now see what we are plotting. Let us see the output and then we will understand how it works, right? So we are plotting. What is the plot? It's a scatter plot, right? So scatter plots is this dots and dots, right? On the x-axis, you have the rating column. So you can see on the x-axis, you have the rating column from 1 to 9. On the y-axis, you have revenue, right? So what is the revenue from 0 up to maybe 1000? And title is revenue millions versus rating. You can see this is the title that is being placed here. So on the x-axis, you are keeping the rating. So on the x-axis, you are keeping the rating. On the y-axis, so let us draw it in Excel also. So you can see this Excel has a, I mean, of course, this graph is a bit compressed here, but you can get an idea here, 0 to 10 and 0 to 1000 revenue millions. And you can see this kind of triangular shape. The same thing is being observed here also. Just the only thing, this graph is a little more expanded and hence you see more scattered dots. Again, plot has a lot of APIs. You can call any number, bar plot, chart and pie chart. Exactly, a lot of graphs are there, right? So for example, we have a histogram plot also here, right? For ratings, see, this is a histogram plot. Again, you can see in the ratings, you can get a description, minimum 25%, 50%, 75%, and max, right? So this is how you can get this, right? Again, you can also plot a box plot. So you know what is a box plot? We have this one. So 25%, this is a 50, sorry, this is 25, 50 is the green line, this is 75. These are the min max and these are outside interquartile range, right? You can just see the theory. So more than 3 by 2 times of upper quartile and less value excluding outliers. Okay. Again, we can do a bar plot, sorry, a box plot, right? And in this case, it is basically giving two parameters, right? By combining categorical and continuous data, we can generate a bar plot that is grouped by rating category. So you can see this is basically the good and the bad, right? Because in this in this rating category, we had two options, right? Good and bad. So you can see this is a revenue box plot plotted into two parts, right? So guys, basically this covers pandas for all of us. I will just say that I have covered a drop in the ocean for pandas. Pandas is huge and extensive, but this covers the majority of the tutorials that you will see in pandas has been covered in these two classes, right? So please install Anaconda. I would suggest just go on anaconda.com, install this because it will help you install many other packages also, and then you can work on Jupyter locally also. Right. So that's it for today's guys. If you have any doubts, you can ask or we can exit the session. Thanks for attending.